It's explained in Chassidis in great length. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tractates concentrating on the importance of Rosh Hashanah. And it explains that when Hashem created the world, there was no one to coronate him. The whole purpose of creation came from him. Hashem, out of his kindness, created the world. However, Hashem created in the system that that's just going to be the initial beginning. But every year, from then on, every year, we have to create that Hashem should have a delight in wanting to create the world, wanting to create us. The whole purpose of creation is for us to keep Torah and mitzvahs, to make this world a dwelling place for him. But we have to make that happen. We have to, so to speak, convince Hashem that once again, he should create the world, but not just create the world, to create the world in delight, to really want us that he really takes pleasure of everything that we do. And that does not happen by itself. And let me try to explain this in simple words. Imagine if you had 1 billion ants or 1 billion mice get together and proclaim you as the president of all the mice, all the ants. You would not only not be delighted, you would be insulted. Are you kidding? King over the mice, president over the mice, or the ants, or the cockroaches. It is the biggest chutzpah. It's the biggest nerve. What means when we ask Hashem, he should be melech over us and to take delight of everything that we do, that we matter. Everything that we do matters. How? Why? So it says in mysticism, Kabbalah, and Hasidus explains that Hashem's delight that we created last Rosh Hashanah is only for 1 year. It's a 1-year contract. And once it becomes sundown, exactly at sundown, Hashem's delight for the whole situation, not just this world, everything that exists anywhere, the delight for that to happen goes away. Goes back to the way it was originally, before Hashem created anything. And the whole entire world, and every world, everywhere, everything is hanging on a shoestring or a thread. Hashem is going to continue creating the world, no problem. But is he going to have a delight? Is he going to have enjoyment for what everything we do? That doesn't make any sense. There's no basis on that. The only basis is that when we come to Hashem on Rosh Hashanah, and we commit ourselves to Hashem, and we say, we are going to commit ourselves. We are yours. We are your servants. We beg you, take us as your servant. We're going to take you as our king. And when we daven and work on ourselves, not just saying the words, but really doing some soul searching and really understanding the purpose of why we're here. We're here to fulfill Hashem's purpose. And that's what life is all about. Of course, we need to have health and to have parnasa and to have nachas. Everything is very important. But what is that all for? We're not here for ourselves. We're not here to fulfill our own desires. We're about the boss. We're about Hashem. And if he doesn't have any interest in us, you could have a wonderful life, but you're just another creation. Hashem is so kind. He doesn't mind if you're around. Could you imagine feeling like that? Yeah, I have everything I need, but you don't even matter. Hashem says, I created so many pebbles and so many leaves and so many trees and so many people. Another person, he needs food, give him health, give him everything, but you don't matter. You are totally insignificant in a big picture. A Jew cannot live like that. It's the most painful feeling to, God forbid, feel that you don't matter. You totally don't matter. So what are we trying to do on Rosh Hashanah? The key issue is Hashem first has to accept to be the king, to have a delight as to be a king, delight of our service to him, and that commitment that we make on Rosh Hashanah, that finally is culminated by the shofar, which I'll soon explain. The shofar, incidentally, is a very difficult thing to understand. What in the world does blowing the horn have to do with Rosh Hashanah? Take a horn of an animal, make some strange sounds, it's not even a musical note. And that's the theme of Rosh Hashanah. The Gemara says, mitzvahs hayom shofar. The whole day is, what's the day? Blow a horn. Blow a horn? What does that have to do with anything? A horn of an animal, that's the day. Don't bother me, blow the horn. So the Rambam, we all know who the Rambam was, great philosopher, tremendous, great mind. You know what he says? It's a decree. It's beyond our understanding why Hashem said to blow shofar. However, the Rambam says there are some ideas behind it. There's a message. Wake up from your spiritual sleep. The sound of the shofar is a wake-up call. But that's just a remez. But why do we blow a horn on? What does it have to do with Rosh Hashanah? The Rambam says we don't understand. It's a gzeira, he says. Comes the Baal Shem Tov and explains with this tremendous explanation of what is shofar. And why is shofar the theme of the day? What he says is in a mashal. He gave an example. There are two different mashalim, and I'll share both with us all. One mashal that I recently saw in the middle of Chassidic discourse is a mashal of a child who got lost in a forest. And the forest is dark, it's scary, there's all kinds of wild things running around in the forest, and he's lost in the forest. And he cries to his father, Tati, Daddy, Abba, Abba. When the father hears that Abba, Abba, there's nothing more that reaches the father. He's in the greatest delight that my child knows whom to call. He is my child. Says the Baal Shem Tov, shofar is the cry. I don't have too much to say. I promised you the Brooklyn Bridge last year, and 2 years ago, and 3 years ago. Every time I say, I'm sorry, be my king up. How many times could you do that? What's the logic? What do you think? Hashem doesn't have a good memory? You promised him. And on that promise, he accepted your promise and he became again, he took delight in you. What in the world? How are you coming this year, Rosh Hashanah? Says the Baal Shem Tov, there's no logic. We don't have a good answer to that question. But we cry to you, Hashem, from the depths of our heart, we are your children. And we promise you that we will be your loyal servant if you only accept me as your servant, and I accept you once again to be my melech. According to this explanation, Rosh Hashanah, you don't start blowing the horn at the night of Rosh Hashanah. You cannot begin, I'm speechless. Oh yeah, you're speechless? Try talking. Try doing something. You don't just say, I'm speechless. After you try a whole month of Elul, and then comes the days of Slichus, and then the night of Rosh Hashanah, and the morning of Rosh Hashanah, and then we read the Torah, and we read the stories of the Akedah, and we read all the things of what we read. We try everything. And we finally come to a point, I'm out of words. I really don't have anything more to say, but I could cry to you. It's a cry that you cannot articulate in words. You cannot even, there's nothing to say. But you're my father, and I am your child. And when Hashem hears that, it's over. It's done. So therefore, every Yid has no doubt that when we blew shofar, and we're going to blow shofar, there's no question that Hashem is gonna accept our request, and again he'll become Melech over Am Yisrael and over the whole world. There is another mashal that the same Baal Shem Tov gave in a different setting, and he gave this mashal of a melech who had an only child. And the father, the melech, decided, my dear son, I really want you to become educated. I'm going to have you travel around the whole world. I want you to learn different languages, get to know different people. I'm going to give you clothes and food and coffee or whatever. Coffee was those days it was not coffee, but I'll give you whatever it needs, whatever it takes for you to become a better person. And so he did, gave him all the clothes and all the food and gave him everything it takes. And he kisses him goodbye, my dear son. I hope to see you soon back as a whole different person. What happened was, that this child, he was a spoiled kid. He's the son of the king. He has all the money. He has everything, but didn't take too long, and he got mixed up with the wrong crowd. And eventually he became it got worse and worse. And it got to a point that he totally forgot who he was. He started dressing like those friends. He let his hair long. He had already hippie clothes he had torn clothes and rags. He became a real whatever. So much so, says the Baal Shem Tov, he went so far, he forgot the language that they speak in his own town, in his own country. Totally forgot who he is, who he was, where he comes from. The father doesn't hear a word from him. He's devastated. Where's my child? And the child forgot about his father, forgot that he's the son of the Melech. One day, it hits him. I give out. What did I do? My father loves me to pieces. He did everything for me, and I forgot him. I'm going back. I'm going back to my father. Oh, yeah, you're going back? Like, how do you plan to go back? He spent all the money. He doesn't look like the son of a king. No one will believe him that he's the son of a king. And he doesn't speak the language. He doesn't have money to go back. He's determined to go back. I'm going back to my father no matter what. Okay, go. He goes and goes and goes and goes. In the meantime, he doesn't know how to communicate with the people. He's trying to figure out, maybe they'll realize he's the son of the king. He starts making with his hands, and everybody looks at him. This guy is really off the wall. The guy's a crackpot. It breaks him to pieces. No one even believes him that he's the son of the king. How am I going to get back? And he's determined to go. He's going. He walks by foot, and he walks and walks and walks. I don't know how long it takes him. He finally comes to the city, the country, and then the city where the king lives. Oh, yeah? No, I'm going to go in. Going in? Like, how do you plan to go in? There's guards. You don't just go in. And especially, he doesn't look like, not only doesn't he look like the son of the king, he looks like a tramper from the Bowery. He just fell off forget it. So how am I going to go see my father? How am I going to get together again? So he comes up with this idea. The king got to come out someday. He doesn't stay a whole life in his castle. He'll come out, take a walk, catch some fresh air. When my father, the king, will come out, then I'll say hello, reunite. He waits and waits. Finally, he finds out, the word is out, the king is about to come out. The king is about to come out. There are thousands of people standing there. When do you see the king? There's a crowd like, forget it. And he's in the crowd. No one pays any attention to him, but he's like in the middle of the whole crowd. And the father finally comes out. And the son breaks down crying. He's speechless. First of all, he doesn't know the language anyways, but he's so moved and he's so touched. This is my father. And he cries to his father. And the father recognizes, this gotta be my son. And the father jumps into the crowd where this voice came from. And he grabs his son and hugs him and kisses him and reunites and brings him back to his palace. Says the Baal Shem Tov, that's shofar. We tried everything. The whole month of Elul, Slichis, the night of Rosh Hashanah, the morning of Rosh Hashanah. I'm still not sure that my Father heard me. I'm not sure he took me back. But when we blow shofar, it's not the Baal Tokeya blows and you just stand there like a yo-yo. When the shofar is blowing, you are blowing shofar. You are talking to Hashem, soul talk. You're communing to Hashem from the depth of your heart. Take me back, Tati. And when we speak to Hashem in shofar language, Hashem takes us back. No doubt. There's not even one iota of a doubt that we reunite. And he accepts us back and we are his avadim. And Hashem says, yes, I'm going to take delight from everything you do. You are so meaningful to me. So to understand what I'm saying in short is, Rosh Hashanah, the issue is much more than just what's going to be with me. I know Rosh Hashanah, everything is inscribed and I need a good year, so I'm going to pray to Hashem, give me a good year. There's a much more, infinitely more in Rosh Hashanah than you. Hashem first has to accept to want to create the world and want to have a delight in the world. The light of everything that we do. That's the whole purpose of why he created the world, was for him. If he doesn't have any pleasure of this, who needs to live? Who needs to be around? So Rosh Hashanah, we gotta work on ourselves before we ask for our needs. Of course, we need our needs. Of course, everything that we need is going to be to serve him. But what is at stake? What is the issue? What's on the agenda? If Hashem is not Melech, then I am less than nothing. I don't matter. And the whole world doesn't matter to Hashem. Nothing matters. So when it says in Sfarim that Rosh Hashanah is Yom Hadin, most people think Yom Hadin, the day of judgment, what's going to be with me? There's a bigger Yom Hadin. There's a Yom Hadin if the world and Bnei Yisrael are worthy for Hashem to be Melech. How are we last year? Were we loyal servants the whole year? Basically, if we get according to how we were committed, it's going to be a sad scene. So we're asking that no matter what happened last year, we're making a new commitment. But there is a judgment. How much did you really invest? How much time did you spend thinking about Hashem the whole year? Maybe you spend most of the time thinking about you and your needs. About what was God's need. Yeah, I didn't even think too much about him. I was busy with myself a whole year. So we need to understand, what do we need to think about Rosh Hashanah? What is the theme of Rosh Hashanah? Being a loyal servant to Hashem, to commit ourselves with no ifs and no buts. Hashem is not exactly interested. Are you in the mood? How do you feel about this mitzvah today? He's a king. Mitzvahs is not like many people think. It's a good deed. It's something nice. It's kind of cute. It's something interesting. A mitzvah is a command. He's not asking us your opinion or what do you say about it today. It's a command. And the Alter Rebbe, I must share this with you all. because it's an eye opener. The Alter Rebbe, in his Tanya, the holy book Tanya, in the first chapter of the section of Tshuva, it's called Igeres HaTshuva. He says something so important, so fundamentally important. What is tshuva? What's the problem? You sinned? Okay, so therefore what? You're afraid you're going to burn in hell? Or you want to have a Gan Eden? That's the problem? Then you didn't get it right. You don't get it. You're missing the fundamental principle. Hashem is a melech, and he commanded us to do 613 mitzvahs. If I don't follow Hashem's command, I'm a mored b'malchus. I'm rebelling in front of the king. It's a rebellion. Even a mitzvah saseh, even a positive commandment, if Hashem says, I would like you to do this, I command you to do this. If I don't do it, it's not just I'm missing a good deed, I'm missing some brownie points. If you don't follow the mitzvah, you are a moed b'malchus. It's like slapping the melech in his face. Says the Alter Rebbe, tshuva is promising I will no longer be a moed b'malchus. This is so important. A person could cry and do tshuva, and he thinks he's doing tshuva, and he's crying in crocodile tears. You might be missing the whole point. You might be thinking you feel guilty about yourself. You feel that you got dirty. You feel you got contaminated, and you want to feel good about yourself. You want to get rid of it. So you're not really thinking about Hashem. You're thinking about yourself. Tshuva is not that you are dirty. Tshuva is I offended the Melech. Hashem is right here, staring at me 24/7, as if he has nothing else what to do, puts everything on the side. Everything to him is boring, just you. 24/7, Hashem is concentrating, how are you going to serve him? If he at least would be up in heaven, so for looking down is not at least he's down, maybe he doesn't see well. Hashem is right smack in front of you. How long? 24 hours. The Shulchan Aruch, the Jewish code of law, begins with a pasuk in Tehillim. Shiviti Hashem lenegdi summit. A Yid remembers that Hashem is right in front of him. That's the key to the whole Shulchan Aruch. You're not going to follow the laws carefully unless you remember that Hashem is standing right here. So the Alter Rebbe in Tanya makes this so clear for everyone to relate to, that the issue is Judaism is not, it's nice things to do. It's beautiful. Oh, it's just gorgeous. It's a command. He's a melech. He dictates to us. He doesn't suggest. We say every time we make a bracha, we say, Asher kedishanu b'mitzvaysav, a command. If it's a command, there's a commander. There's a melech. And I have to follow whatever he asks me to do. So what am I doing tshuva on? I rebelled on the melech. Even if I didn't do a mitzvah, a positive mitzvah, that's also rebellion. He's telling me, do it. And I'm not doing it. You're not doing it? And Hashem says you are doing it. Then you are rebelling. So getting back to Rosh Hashanah, The tshuva that we make on Rosh Hashanah is putting ourselves in gear for the whole year. That Hashem is my boss, and I am going to serve him. No ifs and no buts. That's what we have to be thinking Rosh Hashanah. Coronating the king means he is my boss. He is my melech, and I am your subject. So this is just a little bit of a taste to understand what is Rosh Hashanah. There's a much bigger picture than my personal needs. Of course, we need whatever we have. Whatever we need is really also for Hashem. But first, we got to think about Hashem. Why are we here for? We're not here for ourselves. We're here for the boss. We got to make sure he's happy with us. Every day, we have to think about him, not about us. I don't know. I don't have a watch. My dear son, could you tell me what time it is? Hello? I can't hear. Could anybody tell me?
Yeah, do you hear me, Tom?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, I think we could conclude the first part of the class for now. Next week, B'ezras Hashem, we'll have another class concluded by Rosh Hashanah. And before we take any questions, there's a few people that were going to talk last time. And we got cut off short because we were going pretty long. But I'd like to give some of our alum the opportunity to share some short memories. And thank you all for coming from Eretz Yisrael here, a very nice delegation here. I want to first call upon Morty Ziv, if you'd like to share a few words about your experiences at Chabad House. Could you unmute yourself?
Yes.
Go ahead, Morty.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. I was just speaking to somebody about that today. Here in Tzfat, some girl who came into a cent, and she asked, like, are you religious your whole life? Are you a Chabad rabbi that from Chabad family? And I said, well, not exactly. I met Chabad when I was on campus, and we talked about what it was being on campus, and I started to think back about, to all the experiences and everything, and obviously there are a lot of very incredible experiences. Obviously, the blizzard of '77 was a very big one, that we locked hands, 5 of us, and we walked from Main Street dormitories to the Chabad house on Main Street. Normally like a 12-minute walk, probably 10-minute walk. It took us 45 minutes. And we broke into the Chabad house because the snow was blowing, and we had one guy with goggles on so he could see, and I was holding to make sure the guys didn't get blown away on one side. There was another big guy holding on the other side, and we were going like through the mounds of snow, and we made it into the Chabad house, and there were 8 people there, and we made the minyan. The only minyan in Buffalo that night. And I wasn't religious yet, but I'm pretty sure that turned the card, towards it. I didn't become religious at that Shabbos, even though I probably could have, but it was incredible, just all those experiences, because when you grow up as a Jew, I'm from Long Island, so you grow up, you're like, you're more interested in sports and in music and in concerts and in ball games and and nobody went thinking about Judaism, as a main thing in your life. All of a sudden, you come into this thing, and I remember the beginning of my sophomore year when I transferred to Buffalo, and these guys in my suite came to me and said, there's an open house at this Shabbat house. An open house. We can go down and meet some of these rabbis there. I said, what is Shabbat? I don't know. they said Shabbat, and they didn't know how to say Chabad, so I said Shabbat. So I said, okay, so let's go down. And we went down and we saw Rabbi Gurary, Rabbi Greenberg, and some of the other people there. And I was thinking to myself, wow, this is like very, weird, like guys with black hats and beards and everything, and little did I know that I'd end up there and become one of them, but who knew when I walked in there, very young guy from Long Island, much more interested in football than Judaism, that's for sure. And at that point, I think, we had some amazing experiences, and we became like a cornerstone, for the Chabad place on Main Street there. It became like Friday night, we went to the Chabad house. That was like the thing, Friday night. And Dr. Laz lived right next door to the Chabad house. We used to go and drink Molson's by him on Friday night. We used to hang out with him. We used to turn on and off his lights a couple times. We never knew, we went to the bathroom, she'd turn on, turn off, all kinds of crazy things. But in the end, what happened. So Baruch Hashem, I don't want to talk too long, I talk for hours about this. I want other people to talk, and just say that I'm hoping to host people from UB alumni in Tzfat for Shabbos. Definitely everybody should come up at some point. We'd love to have it. Maybe Rabbi Gurary brought a group one year of students here. Wow, that was back in the days. That was probably over like 25 years ago or something like that.
95, I think.
He brought a group of students. What's that?
I think it was 95.
95? Okay, that's a while ago.
Yeah.
So that was something. Yeah. So yeah, Eric Buckerman just
Do you want to share a few words, Eric?
Walk. Eric should talk now. Yeah.
Eric, could you mute yourself? Eric?
Hi.
There you go. Can we see you too?
I'm trying to work it out. Let's see if we can do it.
Just press start camera. Start video.
Yeah, well, I'm doing this on my phone, so it's kind of weird.
Oh.
You'll just listen. I'll look at
Okay.
Morty's face.
Go ahead.
I was the person that told Morty, let's go to Chabad. They're going to be food. And I remember I was hanging around the Jewish Student Union. I think I know who the people were there, and Rabbi Gurary walked in, and he said, Shalom Aleichem. And I said, Aleichem Shalom. And people in the office looked at me and said, how do you know what to say? Chabad for me was like, I have family that is in Chabad, and one of them used to come up on Purim to play in Buffalo. So it wasn't totally alien. It was like, if I was going to go to school, I was, where was I going to go? So I went to Chabad because it was the place to go. It was familiar. It was Hamish. And I think my last year or senior year, Rabbi Pape said, why don't you wear a kippah? I said, because I eat pizza. How can I wear a kippah? I said, you know what? One thing a week. Do one thing a week. So stop eating pizza this week, which was really hard. And it was really cool because I had a Shakespeare professor whose wife is Jewish, and I came with the kippah. He said, what's going on? So he actually helped, and I talked to him, and the kippah stayed. I became Shomer Shabbat, or became Shomer Shabbat again. I finished my year in Buffalo. I went to spend a year in Israel. I came back to America, went to law school, worked for a year. I worked in the Twin Towers, so it's good I get out in time. And then I made Aliyah. And it's actually like because with my work, I worked with Chabad. I had a client who needed kosher food in prison. And in Florida, you couldn't get kosher food in prison in the state prison. So they wound up actually changing the whole Florida prison system to get kosher food in. But Chabad was home, and more than Chabad, I think Buffalo became home also. Like my kids root for the Bills. Buffalo is still a big part. Like my surrogate family was a part of my life through law school. I went up to see them. I'm in touch with people from Buffalo still. Somebody who was in Buffalo was like the representative of the Israel Student Organization. He wound up being our ambassador to Ethiopia and South Africa and Finland. So Buffalo was more than a base. I guess I was looking for a home, and Buffalo and Chabad were home. Hey, Morty.
Eric, wow.
I would love to hear Leah Sekunte say a few words.
Well, very interesting. I don't have, I was thinking last week when we were speaking and Malka was speaking, and I remember fundraising with her after the fire in New York. And I think we went to the office of Theodore Bakel. Malka was much more of the spiritual mind. I was more tachlis. She did the more of the talking. I was more like, show me the bottom line of of the reality. But I think as I've matured, and Baruch Hashem, my husband and I were able to make Aliyah. I think the Avir in Eretz Yisrael gives us an extra level of spirituality that maybe we were not 100% able to tap into chutz la'aretz. So, but when I think back to the start of my relationship with Chabad and Rabbi Gurary, and passing through the student union, and being given a ticket to go and learn in Minneapolis, and everything that's happened to me since, I'm very grateful. I think, and I appreciate what you said tonight, Rabbi Gurary, in terms of our relationship with Hashem, because it's something that I learn with other people, and that I think about, and that I draw an enormous amount of strength from. And I'm very happy to reconnect with everyone here. And of course, as I said, I'm really very grateful to you for everything that you did, your ultimate patience with all of us.
Thank you, Leah. Bonnie, are you on? Bonnie?
Is this better?
Yeah, now I hear
Does
you.
that
We don't
work?
see you yet, but can you play your camera as well?
Okay. I can't. I tried to figure out how to do it. I couldn't. I tried when you were talking. I tried to play with it. I couldn't figure it out.
Do you want to share a few words?
Does this do it? Does this do it?
Not yet.
Does that do
Start
it? No.
video? You don't have a
No.
button that says start video?
Start video. Yes.
Start video.
Okay.
It says start video?
But it doesn't do it.
Okay. All right. So we'll
Yeah.
hear the audio. Would you like to share with us
Okay,
your
then.
words, your memories?
Okay. I'm sorry. Where do I start? A number of years, many years ago, before I made Aliyah, 40 something years ago, I was living in Buffalo for a year, and I was trying to go someplace else for services, and they already finished. So on the way back, I passed by Chabad house, and I thought, well, I guess I'll go in and see. and then somebody, Shayna, and I don't remember her last name, invited, she was sitting next to me, and she invited me for a Shabbos meal. She says, "Do you have a place for Shabbos?" I said, "Yeah, I have an apartment." She said, "No, do you have a Shabbos meal?" I said, "Well, yeah, I have food at home." She said, "No, would you like to come to us?" And it's like, what? But I did, and then I started coming to Lazarson's and whatever, and sometimes babysitting, and that's slowly, lot.
Are you just 1 year in Buffalo?
Yeah, I wasn't in college there. My mother was born and raised there. She went to University of Buffalo, and I wanted to connect with my family. I was born and raised in Baltimore, and we didn't have any family there. And my mother would always say, "I'm hungry for my family. I'm hungry for my family." So I went to live in Buffalo to connect to my family.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah,
Yes.
you actually knew a distant cousin of mine, now Randy Harlev. She lives in Israel. She's a number of years older than I am. Anyhow, she started keeping Shabbat through Chabad, but she didn't stay with that. But her and her husband made Aliyah and raised children, and now they have grandchildren in Israel and whatever.
Beautiful. Thank you. Fine. Mindy, I don't remember. Did you speak before? Mindy?
No,
Would you like to say a few words?
what?
Would you like to say a few words about your experience in Buffalo?
Now that I'm forced, I'll say something.
Okay.
So first of all, I was still a minor when I went to Buffalo. I wasn't 18 yet. And I walked into Chabad house, and I'm really sorry. I'm just going to say this, so I might as well confess, because Hashem knows what I did. I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and I walked in, I said, "I really need kosher meat." Rabbi Gurary, I'm so glad you didn't fall on the floor laughing. Thank you. And I think what impressed me most, I was only there for 2 years, but that first year was 73. And I was always angry at the person who told Rabbi Gurary in the middle of telling what was going on in Eretz Yisrael. And Rabbi Gurary,
The Yom Kippur War you talked about, right?
the Yom Kippur War. And Rabbi Gurary was crying and pleading with Hashem. And slowly it's going around the shul, what's going on? And we're wondering who told him, because we only wanted you to be happy. You were like a happy person. We wanted to make you happy. You were kind of a manifestation of a father figure for us, I guess. And you were so miserable, and it was so palpable. And people were just going to Israel after that, like the next week. And I was still a minor. And I finally moved to Eretz Yisrael in 77 after I finished college. And that just rooted everything in me. I was like, how could I be here anymore?
Wow.
Very nice, very special.
Hashem, thank you.
You should be blessed for all the bracha.
I am.
More
so-
and more.
Camera before. This is my shofar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yemenite shofar. Anyway, thank you. Shana Tova.
Shana tova.
What about Miriam Schoenfeld? Would you like to say a few words? Can you unmute yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to thank Rabbi Gurary, because when I went up to Buffalo University, I was really only going to the furthest place I could go to run away from home. I was 15. I got accepted very, very early. I ran away from home. I wound up in Buffalo, and I had no purpose, and I didn't know what I was doing there. My father, I said, "Oh, I'm going to be a doctor." Like I ever opened up a book in all of high school, even though I graduated with high honors. I never opened the book. Anyway, I was not prepared to study. I didn't know what I was doing there. I met Rabbi Gurary, and if Rabbi Gurary did not embrace me and take me in, who knows what would become of me up there in Buffalo with all the drugs and everything that was going on. I really believe Rabbi Gurary most probably saved my life. And I went to Israel the following year. I lost touch with Rabbi Gurary. Many things happened. The Rabbi gave me some advice, and I lost touch with Rabbi Gurary, and I didn't know how to take it, and I didn't listen. So, it could have been better, but I'm living in Midwood and Flatbush. I'm all alone.
We don't hear you.
You can't hear me?
We're very low. Can you get closer to the mic? Go.
No,
Somehow
okay.
became very
Well,
low.
I guess I can't. I'll just stop here.
No, continue.
No, so yeah, so the rabbi was talking about for during Rosh Hashanah, that you feel like you nobody in the world cares about you, and I'm having a very, very hard time going into this Tishrei. I am having such a hard time that I'm thinking of actually going into a hospital, because I'm crying every single day. I haven't stopped crying for like a week. And I'm just having a very hard time. So I'm thinking now the rabbi just reminded me I have to crown Hashem the Melech on Rosh Hashanah. So I better remember to bring my sinner to the hospital, So I'm thinking like that, but like if I think like that, maybe I won't have to go to the hospital. I don't know. Maybe somehow I'll be able to stay home.
You are never alone. You are never alone. Hashem is right there with you. He is your father. You're his daughter. You're never alone. And that's what Rosh Hashanah is all about. What is the words we say to Hashem? Avinu Malkeinu. Father, number one, you're my father, and then you're our king. So you're not alone. You're never alone. And every time you do a mitzvah, you give Hashem the greatest pleasure. You matter everything to him. Miriam, you here?
Yeah, but if you don't have people, friends, love, how can you do a mitzvah? If you don't have any love of mitzvah, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, Hashem and our Father and our King is here, but you really have to work to try to keep awake to that.
That is what shofar is all about. A wake-up call that he's right here. That's shofar. A wake-up call, a reminder that he is right here and he loves you to pieces.
Yeah, so God willing, I'll go to shul and hear shofar. But when I first wake up in the morning, the very first thoughts are like, I feel so overwhelmed and like, oh, another day. And how am I gonna start working? How am I gonna start serving Hashem? And
he helps you. He's right with you. You got to remember, you're never alone.
Yeah, I wish to God that I had somebody to actually remind me that I'm not alone.
So we are now, this is what this whole meeting is all about, that we're not alone, we're all together. We are all together. These are all your brothers and sisters. We have the same goal, the same common interests. We all are equal children to Hashem. Anybody listening? Miriam? Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening that we're not alone. And we're all God's children. And I'm thinking like, maybe I would feel better if I davened in a different shul. Maybe,
You could daven wherever you are. Hashem, it's a local call, not a long distance. Wherever you are, you're with Hashem.
Okay.
Remember that, please.
Thank you.
Your bench you should be.
I mean,
Anyone else want to say anything?
Maybe we should get her the book, Positivity Bias, and send it to her. She should have some reading material for Rosh Hashanah. I'm willing to give money towards it. I don't care. I think it'll be a great book for her to have.
We can order and have it shipped to her.
We can order and have it shipped to her.
Write down the address, Morty.
Miriam, could you put the address in the chat? Your address?
I correct. Yes.
Your address, could you put it in the chat?
In America?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll give it. I'll book Honey.
Okay, send it to Khadi. I'll get it. I'll get it to Morty. Morty, you're in charge of getting the book?
I'm in charge of getting the book. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll get you get you her address.
I'll definitely pay it back. I'll definitely pay it back for the book.
You don't have to pay. Get the book for somebody else. Don't pay me back.
They asked me to.
No, they're not gonna ask everybody. Just you could say no, because you're not muted.
If anybody hears, I just want to say that even though I live in Israel, the words on the telephone wires go at the speed of light. So you really aren't that far away, even from another person. And you can call me anytime you want. Anybody can call me anytime you want. And I will try to answer and just be a regular, simple person to, give you a little bit of chizuk. I know exactly how you feel. Believe me. I don't talk about it that much, but if you would be here, my wife is here with me, and I'm crying when I hear this because I know really how you feel from my perspective, and I know how important it is to talk to people. And I'm just another person, and you can talk to me, and it's
Moshe Cup. I'll send you the phone number.
Yeah, I think it's a nice hashkacha process that we made this class at a time where it's good for Israel, and the hope is you guys should bond with each other. You guys are the alumni from Israel. Maybe we could do something in Israel together, in person. Some type of alumni reunion or something. But I think
We'll get Rabbi G to come to Israel.
No problem. Just take care of the COVID.
That's a shame.
I just want to conclude because it's conclude
he would go
that
the president.
on Rosh Hashanah, all Jewish people, the whole Klal Yisrael, are looked upon to Hashem as we're all one unit. That is the theme of Rosh Hashanah. We are all together and we're all equal and we all are one. And Hashem makes a covenant with us that we are all one and we're all together. That's what Rosh Hashanah is. And on that basis, we are sure that God is going to give us an unbelievable good year because we are all his children. We are all equally his children, and we all are brothers and sisters. So Hashem should bless us all to have a kasiva v'chasima toiva an unbelievable good year. The Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, incredible words, that every year on Rosh Hashanah, Hashem allocates more than he ever gave to the world. This is not just another year that we're just going to go through the next year. Oh, another year. No. This coming year, as far as Hashem is concerned, he's giving us more, greater than ever before. We just have to unpack the allocation. Sometimes you get a package from UPS or Federal Express, but you got to open it and make use of it. But the package is coming, and the package has everything more than ever before. So on that note, we should all be blessed with a sweet and a good year. And Mitzvah Hashem, next Sunday, we will reconnect.